Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. A historic day for GDC baseball for the second consecutive day in a row. And we're joined now by our Grizzly today, presented by Jets Pizza on Sugarloaf Parkway. Our shortstop, Jackson Cobb. Jackson, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, just hanging out up here in the air conditioning. Y'all down there sweating and working hard. We jump into all the highlights here. Jackson, I want to go back to yesterday just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been a part of something like 30 runs in a ball game, specifically 34 yesterday that breaks the school record?
Dude, I haven't. 30 runs, 2 days in a row. I'm glad I was part of it, that's for sure.
And you probably heard some of the older guys trying to warm you up to, hey, listen, it's different here in a Grizzly uniform. You know, facilities are different. You're probably all the recruiting premises. Mm-hmm. But then they're like, hey, listen, winning a weekend series isn't enough. We sweep. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, like, these winning streaks, and like, what are some of the things you've learned in your first year that's not normal in baseball you used to know?
I mean, I would say just the way we work together and our chemistry, man, this is the best. I've said it before. This is the best team of chemistry I've ever been a part of. And I think that just the work we put in off the field, all we got to do is go out there and ball, and it's beautiful. And 30 runs is the byproduct.
Well, if you went home to sleep last night on 34 runs, you wake up today to break that record and score 38 today. So as the scores go across Twitter, no, it's not a typo, it's not a replete. Another 38 runs go today. And take me through some of your at-bats, because it's one thing to be given a ton of runs. It's another thing to manufacture runs. Yep. The extra base hits today were out of this world. What does it mean for a guy like you? Well, now, man, doubles are gap-to-gap. Triples are now an option, and nonetheless, we've seen some towering home runs too as well. What does it mean for a team to just manufacture runs versus getting extra base hits?
I mean, the walks lead to the extra base hits, you know, so, like, guys get on base in front of me. I know my job is to just square a ball up and get it to the outfield, get it in the grass, and just so happened to square them up pretty good today.
And so the Grizzlies did indeed square up Florida National pretty well in game number 1. 38 runs go up. Their fifth win in a row for the Grizzlies, and then we got to turn right back around and take on Voorhees. And in a week in which the offense exploded, I don't want to overshadow Caleb Hill's performance here. Literally knocked the bat out of the Tigers' hands. 2 hits were given up, and one of them could have not been a hit, and scoreless 6 innings. How good was he out there? What does it look like from short?
Oh, I love when Cahill's on the mound, man. It's beautiful. That's 2 weeks in a row. He's absolutely shoved. Shout out to him, and I've known him for a while too. So playing behind him, like, just there's something there. You know, I love it.
And so Caleb Hill gets a job done on top of the mound in game number 2. Offense explodes for another 13 runs, consistently putting up crooked numbers across the board. What does Skip say after a performance like this? He's an offensive guy. He talks about bunts and barrels and bases, and man, it's like, Coach, we gave you everything this weekend.
I mean, he definitely job well done. We did what we were supposed to do. That was the message earlier all throughout the week. You know, we don't just win series, we sweep, and we sweep by a lot. We run rule.
And so the Grizzlies swept through the CAC Showdown this weekend. They're sitting pretty for that conference tournament that's going to happen here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Who will join them? A lot of this weekend's results will determine that. Stay tuned to ggcathletics.com for all that information. But, Jackson, let's put things in perspective real quick here on this season so far. 39 wins for the Grizzlies and just 6 losses. If I told you this team was going to win at least 40 games, isn't that the benchmark for college baseball in a successful season?
I would say so. For the Grizzlies, though, I think it's around 50.
Yeah, I like where your head's at there.
Yeah, sure.
And then if that wasn't, once again, the most runs any team has ever scored in GDC Athletics history was today with 38 runs. That'll go in a record book, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't help but do some more digging, and I realized that the Grizzlies started taking off my shoes and getting the calculator out. About 102 runs in a week.
I looked up and I was like, 30 and 30? Like, that's already 70 runs. Like,
and so when you go back to Tuesday at Bruton Parker, at the game versus Voorhees, 102 runs in 1 week. What comes to mind when I say something like that?
It was pretty fun. I'll say that. I think, like, the guys just coming in there and doing their job, I just can't say much about it. I love it.
Big weekend for the Grizzlies here at the CAC Showdown. Jackson Cobb's our Grizzly today. Take us home with some shout-outs.
All right, so first of all, I want to shout out my guys down there. Shout out Gage Williams for handling the NAIA Snapchat today.
Yeah, big shout out to him.
Of course. I want to shout out my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ because without him, none of this would be possible. Shout out Cody Butler and NAIA Ball for making this all happen. And
Yes, sir.
Shout out his family for being here today. It was a really special
Absolutely.
day, and I'm glad that we could go break a record on this day.
Yep.
Shout out my guys back home, the Grove Boys. Shout out Wolfpack from Kansas. And just shout out my mom and dad and the rest of my family. Love y'all.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing y'all soon for sure. Jackson,
sir.
good to see you today,
Good to
man.
see you, too.
That'll do it for us here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. The CAC Showdown in the books, and the glory goes to the Grizzlies on a doubleheader sweep.